So what happens when you get severely ill if you get Delhi belly in India? This is my story and I want to tell you exactly what happens. Now, I arrived here in India 2 months ago. This is what I looked like when I was in the Maldives 2 months ago. This is a picture of me then, and this is me now. I don't know if you can see how much weight I've lost, but I've lost a lot of weight. I've had Delhi belly and I'm struggling to know what to do with it. Now, for context, I'm one of the Frugal travellers. Mandy, my wife, is the second half of the Frugal travellers. We've been travelling the world on a budget for 30 years, 118 countries, travelled in a lot of places, experienced a lot of things, been to India before, and we all know that India can be pretty tough on the stomach and everybody gets Delhi belly after a while. We started our trip in the Maldives 2 months ago, came to India for a month, went to Pakistan for 6 weeks and just come back to India. And I've been sick pretty much the entire time along the way. It's been one symptom after another, a little bit of a heat rash, then a fever, bad colds. Delhi belly hit me actually in Delhi, which is not surprising. We try our hardest to not eat the wrong foods. We're not eating on the street, we're eating in just normal, regular eating places. It's like you drink the water out the cups there and eventually it gets you. In Pakistan, I got sick as well and I ended up going to a doctor there to get a blood test because I had, one of the symptoms was aching limbs really badly, body aches and like arthritis, like things were swelling up and I couldn't walk properly, my hands and my feet were bad. So I went to a doctor there in a clinic and he took me, he did some blood tests and the blood test come back positive, which was a good thing. Like it didn't rule out anything serious, but he said you should go for further tests for RA and MTCPP, sort of like proper arthritis tests. So I thought, okay, I'll try and do that when we're somewhere where we can. Come back to Amritsar. Mandy has now gone back to Australia. She was diagnosed with cancer last year, had surgery, and she has to go back for regular checkups. So she's gone there. And then to go travelling with her sister, leaving me alone in India for the next month. Now, I wanted to go to Manali. I had it all planned a few days ago, but I have now been sick and I'm in like total water diarrhea for the last 7 days, not being able to eat a thing. Something is definitely not right. So what did I do about it? Well, first I did my normal thing and thought, forget it, it'll go away, just ride it out. That didn't work, obviously. Then I went to a chemist and he gave me some orflacine. It's like ciprofloxacin, I suppose, an antibiotic to try and kill any bacteria in your gut. Because basically it's either bacteria, viral or a parasite is what gets your gut on Delhi belly. It's not seemed to be working now, day 4 of that and nothing's happening. So this is my next stage, stage 3, go to a hospital. Now, Mandy and I sussed out a hospital here in Amritsar a couple of days ago, just before she left. It's the Sri Guru Ram Das Charitable Hospital, which is one of the Sikh hospitals. There's a lot here in Amritsar, the capital of the Sikhs. They're amazing people. They do a lot for charity and they set up hospitals and things to help people. Now, I don't know if this hospital is going to be free or not. Probably have to pay to see a doctor and then get some diagnostic tests done, which is really what I've got to do to get to the bottom of this problem. So I've got travel insurance from the UK and there's a £90 excess on any diagnostic tests or medical treatment, so I may have to pay for the treatment, but it won't, my insurance won't cover it anyway. Hopefully my insurance will cover it if it's something serious and I end up being admitted and being on an IV or something like that. If not, I've just got to pay for it and hope for the best, but it might be free, who knows. The thing is, I'm scared, to be honest. I'm going into hospital, I'm on my own, I don't know if they're going to admit me, who's going to look after my stuff, etc. I'm leaving my stuff here in the hostel, this cheap hotel that I'm staying in, the NJ Chalwas Hotel in Amritsar, which is brilliant for just 300 rupees, just £3 a night. I've got a single room ensuite, which is so important because I've been using that a hell of a lot, and the owner's really friendly, so hopefully if I get admitted he can look after my stuff and figure that out when I get back out. I'm hoping the tests come back with something straightforward that they can treat and I can be on my way. Looks like I'm going to be here in Amritsar for longer than I plan to be. Let's try and get rid of this deli belly. I feel weak. I haven't eaten properly for 7 days now, you know, just a couple of bananas. I've been taking oral rehydration solutions. That's really important because I'm losing so much fluids. So I'll buy these from the chemist for 20 rupees and make up one of those for a litre. I've been having 2 of those every day, and just the odd banana and chapati, but everything turns to liquid and goes. So I'm gonna head myself to the hospital now. Fingers crossed things will work out, and I'll let you know how it goes when I get back. So this is the hospital I'm going to go to, the Sri Guru Ramdas Charitable Hospital, Sri Amritsar. It looks quite good. I've had a little look inside. Fairly decent quality, I think. It gets 3.5 on Google. I just want to get fixed, so hopefully they can help me out here. Let's go inside. So the people here have helped me at the hospital. Thank you so much. You've been so kind. These are the guys like by the door that have come to help, and they said like, come with me. They took me to the doctor downstairs. He fast-tracked me past the queue of people and spoke to me straight away. I had a free consultation. He got all my symptoms and he's prescribed me 2 lots of drugs, which he said is definitely going to cure me in 5 days. That is such a relief. He said I don't need a stool test because he says it's not necessary. I've had my blood test, so thank you very much, guys. What is your name?
Jugraj Singh.
Jugraj Singh. And you?
Ranjit Singh.
Ranjit Singh. Yeah. Ranjit Singh. Yeah. Yeah. They're so friendly, so helpful.
I know from Labria.
This is typical of Sikh people. Yeah. They will help when you're in need. So it's really good. Thank you so much, dude. Thank you. So I was inside the hospital for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes. The friendly guys at the door, they saw me and they took me under their wing. They took me past the reception downstairs to see a GP. There was a big line at the GP and I went straight into the front, and after he dealt with someone, he spoke to me. And he was so nice, Dr. Gurpreet Singh Shran, and he listened to my symptoms. I explained everything. I showed him the blood test from Pakistan, and he said straight away, this is what you need. I don't need blood tests because I've had the blood tests, and he analysed them and they were fine. He said I didn't need a stool sample because he could tell exactly what I needed. He has given me Refagut 400 tablets, and also doxycycline hydrochloride, which has surprised me. I've had doxycycline before for malaria, and he says those 2 things along with what I'm taking will definitely kill the bacteria in my gut. It's going to take 5 days to cure and I will be fixed. Now I'm hoping that's right. They took me to the pharmacist, and the pharmacist got it all together. They said it was going to be 780 rupees in total, but they rounded it down to 700, so it's cost me 700 rupees in total for the medication, and the consultation was free. Absolutely brilliant service, like really touches my heart how these people want to help me, and I'm blown away by it all. I'm going to go back to the room, rest for a few days. They gave me oral rehydration solution more as well, so I'm going to keep taking that over the next few days. I'm only going to drink bottled water, and let's see if I am cured of this awful, awful sickness. Fingers crossed. Thank you so much, all of the Sikh people of Amritsar. So this is my cure diarrhea kit I've just bought from the shops. I hate drinking bottled water, but the doctor insisted don't filter tap water, it's no good for you, so I've had to buy bottled water. Unfortunately, they're normally 20 rupees each. I bought a pack of 15 of them for 200, so that was kind of 5 free, which is really good. That should get me through this recovery process. Dahi, he said to drink. This is the yogurt that they have here. This is really good for your stomach. I've got the ORS oral solution salts that they gave me, my doxycycline, and Rifagut 400 rifaximin tablets, and this is what's going to cure me, he insists. And he said keep taking the afloxacin and the probiotics. So yeah, there's quite a bit of stuff there, but I'll report back in a couple of days time and let you know how I'm going. Fingers crossed everything is going to improve for me. It is now 2 days after that last video, and I have been taking the tablets 2 days into the antibiotics, and they don't seem to be working. Well, they kind of, at first they did. The first 24 hours things felt a little bit better. I did stop the regular toilet visits, and let's be honest, it's not deli belly like massive stomach cramps, it's just run to the toilet, liquid, pure. And that kind of slowed down a bit yesterday, so I got all excited and I thought, yes, go out and eat food for the first time in 7 days. Oh, it was just so amazing. I ate some veggie noodles. I thought that would be okay for me, not too heavy. And then I went out later in the evening and had a thali, so with rice and chapati and potatoes, aloo, so kind of lots of carbohydrates to build me back up, and that was really good to kind of finally get some strength back, because I hadn't eaten for a week, like a proper meal anyway. It was crazy. So I was all excited. Today I thought I'm going to leave, I'm going to go to Manali, back on track, all good. Woke up this morning, had a few bananas, and toilet again, like liquid, 2 in a row. There's no way I can leave here. I've got to stay another day. They've moved me in this hotel to the room upstairs. Now he's kicked me out of the downstairs room. I don't know why. He lied to me. He said that there was someone going to book there, and there wasn't. So I'm up in this crappy room upstairs with like no lateral light. Feels like a prison cell, to be honest. The toilet is like, toilet's okay. I've got the toilet. That's the main thing. But like there isn't a shower. I've got a bucket to do a mandi, like just a bucket wash, and water at least. But I've had it, man. India, you're kind of breaking me here. You really are. You know, 8 days of liquid toilet visits, lost loads of weight. I went to a clinic yesterday and got weighed 63.1 kilos. That's 10 kilos under my usual average, so I've really got to put some weight back on. This is not good for me. Yeah, not feeling good about this. Like, I'm gonna stay, finish the course off. Maybe tomorrow I'll go on to Manali, I don't know, but I'm not sure after that. Doctors, I keep going to doctors and they just keep giving me antibiotics that aren't working. I feel like I need some tests to be done to make sure there isn't like a parasite in there or something. But yeah, signing off from here, not a happy man. I'm just gonna lie in this crappy room and just try and recover. Well, it's 4 days later from the last time I videoed. The day after I left, I got on a bus and came to Manali because I'd had enough of being there. It was a bit of a rough journey. I vomited during the night. I don't normally get motion sickness, but windy roads, and still wasn't feeling great. I've come to Manali, got a much nicer room here, which is really important when you're recovering from an illness. And the weather is much better here because it's cooler up in the hills. Anyway, finished the course of the antibiotics yesterday. It has worked. After sort of 10, 11 days, back to reasonably normal toilet visits. Thank you so much. So my advice is, if you get deli belly, then, you know, after 48 hours or whatever, if it's not really working for you, go to a doctor, see somebody and get the right medication, get a test done or something. And get some medication, and then see it through all the way to the end, because it doesn't work immediately. It'll take a while to kick in. I saw it to the end and I'm feeling good again now. I also got some probiotic capsules because I've been taking antibiotics. Like, I'd had quite a few different attempts of trying different antibiotics and they weren't all working, so I feel like my gut flora has probably really struggled. So the probiotics will help my body get better. Also, be very careful when you're recovering from diarrhea. Don't just go out and eat straight away when you think you're fine and eat anything you want. You have to go easy on your stomach. There is the BRAT diet for recovery, which is bananas, rice, applesauce and toast apparently. Now I had a lot of bananas and bread, chapati, had some white rice. I had momos up here, you know, like the dumplings with veggies inside. So something really bland, not spicy, which is hard in India, I know. But just go easy on your stomach, let it recover. Once it's recovered, then you can start eating more properly. Yeah, and drink plenty of water. I've been buying bottled water and making sure I don't touch any tap water or anything like that. And slowly you'll get better. I feel better. Tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, I'm going to head up to Leh in Ladakh, and that is a wild mountain road. So I really wanted to give myself some recovery time before I went up there into the highlands, and I didn't want any more issues, especially at altitude. Yeah, and that is the end of my story about Delhi belly. I hope it's helped in some way at all. I hope that if you get it, you do recover and you manage to just ride through it, because it's not an easy ride. It really isn't. Yeah, India does test you in these respects. Well, things didn't quite go to plan after the last clip of the video when I thought I was totally recovered. I came to Leh on the amazing bus that takes you from Manali over the mountain passes to this beautiful Himalayan town. And then after a couple of days of being here, I went down badly again with the old Delhi belly, and it was like just total liquid and blood in the stools as well, and I really knew that there was a problem. I was feeling weak after a while, so took myself off to the hospital, the SNM public hospital in Leh, government hospital, and tried to see a doctor. It was really difficult to get in there and see a doctor. I waited for ages and like it just wasn't happening, so I kind of made a little bit of a fuss at the counter. I was in such a bad way, I was upset. So they took me off to triage at A&E, spoke to a person, and they admitted me straight away. I've just spent 5 days in a public hospital in India, in Leh, and I can tell you that it was quite an experience. Really good, I must say. It didn't cost me a penny to go in there. Actually, it cost me 200 rupees to just to register when they admitted me, and they took me straight into like a holding ward where they put me on an IV drip because I obviously needed it, and waited until they sent me to the public ward. The public ward was like 10 beds, a little bit rough around the edges. The toilets were absolutely rank, and I had to go in there often because this was severe diarrhea going in there, and it was messy. They then sent me to the tourist ward. Now Leh is at 3,500 meters, and they have a ward especially for tourists, because a lot of tourists come here, fly up to 3,500 meters, get altitude sickness and need oxygen. So this ward had 6 beds in it, mostly for tourists who had oxygen, and they were there to just recover from like not being able to handle the altitude. 5 days of being treated in there, absolutely magnificent. The nurses were really good. The doctor come around once a day. He gave me rehydration. I was on a drip for, I was getting 3 litres of fluids on a drip for a couple of days. I needed it that badly. I also got IV injection antibiotics to knock off the diarrhea, and it did after a couple of days, thankfully. I then got a little bit of constipation, and I don't know if that's a result of all the drugs, but after 5 days of being in there, I was ready to come out. Now I wanted a stool test, and I had to kind of push a little bit for that because it's not easy to get these things sometimes, and they finally did it. That came back with no issue, because I was thinking, this thing isn't going away. Is it a parasite? Check for giardiasis or something like that. They checked, and there wasn't a problem there. One thing I've got to say about Indian public hospitals is that if you go in there on your own, it's quite difficult because everybody has a support group around them. And basically in a public hospital, you don't get given any food. You've got to look after yourself. So everyone has their support group and their runners who go off and get them food, bring them lunch, dinner, and their evening meal and so on. And also like some of the medications and things like that that you don't get through the public health system. Even like the little container to go and get your stool sample, someone's got to go off and buy that from the pharmacy and bring it back. I didn't have anyone with me, and I was so fortunate. Like, I tasted the milk of human kindness there, because so many people saw me on my own and helped me. They offered me food, they offered to get me toiletries and things like that I needed, and without someone else I was like totally alone. So I'm so grateful for the people that helped me in that Indian hospital. Without them I couldn't have done anything. But the staff, they realized that I had dysentery basically, and if I didn't eat, like, I was going to be in a worse way. So the fact that no one could bring me anything, they offered me food from the staff cart that comes around and gives the staff food, and it's just rice and dal bhat and stuff like that, but at least it was something I could eat, and it really did save me. I wouldn't have survived very long without any food in there. All in all, it was a fantastic experience. They really looked after me, and I come away from there after 5 days without any more diarrhea, and hopefully on the mend, and this is all over now. I really don't know unless I wait a while and see if it does come back, but I'm hoping it's cured me. Thank you so much, India. Thank you so much for the health service that you provided. You have really saved my life. Well, the story didn't end there. This is about 8 months later, and things developed severely. After I left Leh, I went to Srinagar and met my friend, and my condition just got worse. Toilet was really bad. I was passing a lot of blood. I went on to Delhi and saw a top gastroenterologist there. Went to one of the best hospitals I could find to see if I could find a solution. He said exactly the same thing. It's traveller's diarrhea. Gave me a massive course of antibiotics. Went away to my hotel, took them, and no cure. I was being sick. It was really bad, but I was flying back to England, and I thought, yes, I'll go and get a cure. So I flew back to England in a really bad state. So I went and saw a GP in England and got tested, stool tests and blood tests. Couldn't really find much, but I was just getting worse and worse and worse. And the GP called me and said, like, the blood tests don't seem to reflect your symptoms. I was passing blood and things were awful. I'd lost so much weight. He said, go to A&E now, admit yourself. So I went to A&E in the UK. They admitted me, and I was in hospital for 16 days while they tried to find what was wrong with me. They tested me for everything and went through all different ways to make a diagnosis. They didn't know if it was inflammatory disease or an infectious disease. So I was put in an infectious diseases ward, secluded from everybody else because they didn't know if I was infectious. For 16 days I was in there, had my own toilet, which I used 15 times a day. After 16 days in hospital, I am finally going to be let out today. Yes, I'm really excited about that. This is my amazing side room that I've been in for that whole time here, and this is the theatre of dreams, the toilet where all the action happened. Now, I've been not given a concrete diagnosis, but they think it's bile acid malabsorption, inflammation due to an infection that went pretty nasty, so hopefully it's going to get treated. I've got some medications. I'm going to come back for a colonoscopy next week, but I'm leaving and I'm on the up. That's the main thing. Yes. And eventually they discharged me with loperamide to block it up, and they gave me bile acid malabsorption medication, which is cholestyramine, to help with the bile acid malabsorption. They wasn't sure if it was that, but they wanted to do a colonoscopy. I had to do it as an outpatient. So they sent me off. I went back as an outpatient, had the colonoscopy, and they took a biopsy and sent me away. Now, I'd lost 4 kilos in hospital. I was down to 58 kilos, and we still really hadn't found the cure, but they sent me away after the colonoscopy. I went to Portugal to see Mandy and tried to get better. After 4 weeks, the specialist called. The results from the colonoscopy, which they were checking to see what was wrong with my lower intestines, the problem was obviously there. I had inflammation in the lower intestines. I had ulcers in the lower intestines, which suggested ulcerative colitis. But the report came back from my biopsy test, and they'd sent that down to Porton Down, which is the British Ministry of Defence Biosecurity Lab, where they test all the nasty things that turn up and find solutions. And they found the antibodies for, wait for it, Chikungunya. Have you ever heard of that? No, I hadn't either. So chikungunya is a mosquito-borne disease, much like malaria or dengue fever or Ross River virus, where you are bitten by a mosquito In this case, it's the Aedes mosquito, a female that only bites during the daytime, and it spread from Tanzania through the Indian Ocean and the Indian subcontinent back in the early 50s. Chikungunya means like to be crippled up, because one of the main symptoms is you get arthritis sensations, you get joint pain, and you're crippled over. And I had all those symptoms after I got bit in the Maldives, which was a few days before I went to India. I'll show that video up here, because that was exactly the moment on the beach when we found out that there are mosquitoes spreading chikungunya. No one found it in India because they weren't looking for that. I was up in the mountains in India and Pakistan when I was looking for a solution, so nobody even suggested it, but chikungunya it was. Now, unfortunately, there's no cure for chikungunya. Your body just builds up antibodies over between 6 to 12 months later, so it's going to be a long, slow recovery process, but at least now I know what it is. Now, that triggered the autoimmune response, which started the ulcerative colitis, inflammation in my lower intestines and ulcers. So the doctor has prescribed to me mesalazine, which is what I'm taking now. This one is Asacol in Australia I'm taking. There's many different brands, but that helps with the inflammation of the ulcerative colitis. Luckily, about 8 months later now, I've gained 10 kilos in weight, slowly but surely, eating, changing my diet. I have to be very careful with colitis. If you eat the wrong things, it triggers the same problems again, and you have diarrhea and you have inflammation, a lot of pain and discomfort. It's not very nice, but I've been working on it. I've changed my diet and I am on the road to recovery. All this time later, thank you so much. So that's my story wrapped up in a nutshell. Sorry, went on quite long, but it is a long story. If there's any more information you'd like to know, please write in the comments below, and I will give you any information about these diseases and this issue that I had in India, Pakistan, the Maldives, and back here. Thanks very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in another video, nice and healthy, coming soon.